Okay, so shifting focus now to NATO. We're seeing the U.S. again urging allies to spend more on defense, but this time they're floating a much higher number.
Yes, the pressure seems to be ramping up. Now it's Secretary Rubio in Brussels saying the U.S. expects NATO members to aim for 5% of their GDP on defense.
5%. That's a substantial increase from the current 2% target.
It really is. And while, the info says 23 out of 32 members did meet or beat that 2% target last year,
Which is progress.
it is, but you still have major players like Italy and Spain lagging quite a bit, around 1.5%, 1.3% respectively. So even hitting the current goal is still tough for some.
Right.
What's interesting about Rubio's message, though, is the nuance. He apparently acknowledged that hitting 5% immediately isn't realistic for most, but stressed the need for a real commitment, a clear path towards boosting that spending over time. It's about signaling a long-term shift, stronger collective defense.
And here's a fascinating bit. Rubio apparently said this applies to the U.S. too. Yeah, suggesting maybe the U.S. is willing to increase its own defense budget, maybe leading by example, or just reinforcing the call for allies to contribute more.
Interesting. And connecting this back to Ukraine, you see how that conflict feeds right into these NATO spending debates.
Absolutely.
There are clearly underlying worries in Europe about, U.S. reliability long term, especially given past rhetoric, maybe a perceived U.S. pivot away from Europe.
Right, the America First echoes.
Exactly. And NATO's always been the cornerstone against threats like Russia, so any hint of weakened U.S. commitment is a huge concern.
And you add in Trump's past comments about Moscow, the pressure on Kyiv.
Yeah.
It understandably creates unease, especially for countries bordering Russia.
For sure.
They need those solid assurances on Article 5, collective defense. It really highlights how interconnected everything is.